Yep. Okay, so let's come back to our lesson. All right. Today, we are going to continue to talk about reproduction in humans. How many of you have learned this in school already? Give me a thumbs. Ah, Kane, yes, good. Okay, who else? Not Kane, Kate. You see lah, when I see Kate, when I see you put up your hand, then your name will appear as Kane, then I'll read out as Kane, right? Not. So you don't mind me, Ken? Yeah, Kira also, right? How about the rest? Okay, rest? If you have already learned this, put a thumbs up. Odelia? Not yet. Sean? Sean, not yet also. Jake, yes. Li Wen? Li Wen, not yet. Okay. Okay, good. So at least I know. Sky, what about you? Sky, what about you? Have you learned this topic already? Did your teacher start this topic already? So last week we talked about heredity, right? So that means you learn about what you inherit from your parents. You learn about, how these traits can be passed down. Okay, we talked about double eyelids. We talked about what the ear looks. We talked about hair color, eye color, etc. Yeah. So today we continue with reproduction. So you are going to learn about the male sex organs, female sex organs, how to label the parts in the diagram. Okay, thank you, Sky. You learned about the plants one, right? Then we will discuss how human life began, all right? And how come we have parents, eventually ending up with young. Now, so male reproductive parts in human. Now, you should have already learned this if you have touched on this part. Okay, in school, you will be covering the labeling of the male reproductive parts as well. Okay, so what are the parts that you must know? The testes and the penis. Okay, so you must learn that, okay, there are male reproductive cells that are called sperms, okay, that are produced in the testes. So where are these found? Right? So you can see these are the testes. I think this line here got to move a little bit. Okay, it's not long enough. All right, maybe I can help to shift this. It should be pointing to this. Can see? Okay, one more time. So yeah, this is more accurate. Okay, so this is how you label the parts. Clear or not? Okay, testes, there are two of them. All right, and then they actually produce the male reproductive cells called the sperm. You must know how to spell them. Okay, you must know how to spell them. Now, how many of you learned to label these parts already for the male reproductive system? Learn already, right? So you learn about the testes, right? Not? Okay, do you realize that this spelling here, T-E-S-T-E-S, is pointing to both the testes? What if it's just one? What if it's just one? What do you think? Kira, you learned this already, right? What about just one? Okay. Go on, let me type for you. Yeah. So if it's one, you're correct to know. So if you have already learned this in school, you will know that if it's one, right? Okay, this represents the two of them. Okay, if it's just one part, right? One testy is actually spelled this way. Pronunciation is the same, but you have to actually spell differently. All right. Yeah. So after that, okay, you see this picture here. These are actually how sperms look like under the microscope. Okay, under the microscope. Okay, now let's go on to the female reproductive parts in human. Yeah. So if you look at this, okay, female reproductive parts consist of the ovaries, the womb, and the vagina. You need to know how to label them properly. Okay, and you got to know that the female reproductive cells, which are also called the eggs, are produced where? In the ovaries. Okay, so ovaries are these two white parts here. the womb is over here, and this is the vagina. All right. So you must know how to spell accurately as well. Can? And then ovaries, again, because these represent two of them. Okay, there are two of them. So if it's just one, okay, if it's just one, then it will be spelled this way, ovary. Clear? So be very careful. I have seen exam papers, right, getting students to label. And then when the diagram is pointing like this to one ovary, your labeling, you have to spell it this way. If you don't, you will be penalized. That means you will be getting half mark or 0 marks. Okay, depends on how your school allocated the marks. Right, so if they point to both the ovaries, right, then you will spell it this way. Are y'all clear? Okay, if they point to just one, then you have to spell it as ovary, right? If they point to both of them, then it's ovaries. Now, okay, so you just went through this part here. The female reproductive cells are called eggs. The eggs are produced in the ovaries. The male reproductive cells are known as, I see Odelia typing, very good. Very good, Odelia. Sperms, right? Where are the sperms produced? Do you still recall? So now and then I'm going to test you all. So if you are not participative, then you're not going to be getting the point later in the testes. Okay, right, very good, Odelia. Good, Li Wen, very good. See, I like how you guys are actually responding this way. Why I eat with what? I am not getting you, Sky. Curious, you have not completed the spelling. Curious, are you eating? You are not. Make sure you are not, okay? All right. So how does this this egg look like? So we are talking about the female reproductive cells, right? This is the egg, and this is how it looks like under the microscope. Zoom in all the way. Okay. Now, so beginning of human life. Later on, I will try to play this video. Not too sure whether it can be played or not, because the last time I tried to play a video, right, for the students to watch, it kept on hanging and hanging and hanging. It couldn't play properly. Then in the end, the student got to watch on their own. So let's see what happens, okay? Now, so how does this beginning of human life work? So the sperm needs to be deposited in the female vagina first, okay? That happens during mating. Now, the sperm will then make their way to reach the egg, okay? So commonly tested, they want you to identify, okay? Where do you think the sperms are deposited during mating? So you got to know this term. Okay, so it could be an MCQ. It can also be fill in the blank. It can be a short answer question in the assessment papers. Now, only one sperm, okay, there'll be a lot of sperm that will travel all the way trying to reach the egg, but only one sperm will enter the egg and fertilize it. Okay, only one. So this fusion of one sperm and one egg is known as fertilization. Yeah, so these are the terms that you must know. Fertilization, important. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Now, this is one sperm, okay, going to fertilize one egg. Notice how small the sperm is, yeah, and how big the egg is. So this is really how it's like, right? Okay, let me see if I can let you watch this. It will be fantastic. Let's try. 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Okay, can you understand the video? Yes, so how many sperm actually is produced at one time during mating? Remember, it was mentioned inside the video? Millions and millions, right? Yeah. So you're heard, okay? It's the millions and millions of it, isn't it? Yeah, I think I heard like 300 million or something like that. Then eventually when the sperm, okay, it gets deposited in the vagina, right? So the sperm will travel up okay, the female reproductive system to reach the egg. Where do you think the egg is? Where do you think the egg is? Okay, let me just go back a little bit. Okay, so the egg, right, actually originally was in the ovary, right? So when the egg mature, it will come out of the ovary and it will be found. I use another color, maybe I use blue. Okay, so the egg comes out and it will be in the fallopian tube. Okay, yes, Kira, very good. So what is the fallopian tube? This is known as fallopian tube. Okay, so this is known as the fallopian tube. One side is fallopian tube. If I point to both sides, right, then it will be fallopian tubes. Okay, now, so this egg, right, okay, that is matured and comes out of the ovary, it will travel down the fallopian tube. Okay, then at the same time, maybe it's somewhere around here. Then at the same time, when mating takes place, right, the sperm is deposited in the vagina. So the sperm will travel up, okay, pass through the womb, and then it's going to go to the fallopian tube, right? So along the way, right, you don't have millions and millions of sperm eventually reaching the fallopian tube. There are actually a lot, okay, a lot of them that will die when they move from the vagina all the way upwards into the fallopian tube. By the time the sperm reaches the fallopian tube, there are only left how many of them? Like dozens of them only. Okay, yeah, so dozens of them are left. So the final few sperm reaches the fallopian tube, and then only one of them will fuse with the egg. Now, it was also mentioned something. Okay, they talk about the nucleus. Do you all hear the word nucleus? Do you all hear about the 23 chromosomes I shared with you all last week, isn't it? Correct? So yes, there will be 23 chromosome in the female egg and 23 chromosome in the male sperm. Yeah, so when they actually fertilize, okay, so when fertilization takes place, right, the sperm actually penetrated this egg, okay, so there is a fusion of their nucleus. All right, so I want you to see this. Okay, this one moment, I think too many messages are being sent. So I can see Curious and Sky. Okay, if you all both don't stop, if both of you don't stop, I will kick you out of class. Okay, because this is disturbing my teaching and you are also disturbing the other students. If they are trying to listen to me and then they see a lot of the messages going on here, learning cannot take place. Is that clear? The rest of you, correct, right? If they keep on typing and typing, you get distracted. You'll be watching Miss Day, then you'll be looking at the messages, watching Miss Day, looking at the messages, right or not? You'll get distracted, isn't it? Yeah? Okay, Kira, you can see their messages going on, right or not? So this is not right, huh? Sky, I think let's stop, okay? Let's continue with class, Sky. Is it okay? All right. Sky has left the meeting. Okay, later I will give him a call. I think he said he cannot hear. Is it right? Sky, are you able to hear me, Sky? Can, right? Okay. So no more texting, otherwise I have to disable the messaging. Yeah, all right. Thank you so much. Okay, Dookie, let's continue. Now, where was I? I was talking about the 23 chromosomes. So where are the chromosomes found? Now, this is something that I need to go through a little bit with you because this year onwards, right, the students will not be learning cells. There was a topic, okay, on cells in the past. So you are following the new syllabus, isn't it? So P5 don't get to learn the whole chapter on cells already. You need not know what is cell membrane, what is cytoplasm, and so on. But you need to know, okay, this is the nucleus, right? You can ignore this word, haploid, just ignore. Okay, just remember this is known as the nucleus. In the sperm cell,